Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. This video is part 2 of a 2-part series. We will pick it up and replay a couple of scenes from the first video, and we are showing you how to do a brake job, a front brake job on this 2001 S10, and this is a 2-wheel drive truck. And here we'll go through just a quick review of the tools that you're going to need. Okay, now I'm going to take my seal and drop it on like that. You can use a piece of wood or something like that. I'm just using a larger block of metal, larger bearing installer. Just make sure that that's nice and evenly installed. I'll take our rotor, keep it on plastic, flip it over. We're just going to take some grease, and just like on the back side, just kind of pack it in there a little bit. Okay. Let a light coating stay on the race itself, but not a lot. Okay, take some paper towels. Wipe off your spindle here. You want to check for any, you just run your finger on here with a little grease on it. You can see some markings here, but there's no real wear on the spindle. The two surfaces, one here where the inner bearing is and here where the outer bearing is, there's no real wear on the spindle. So the bearings weren't spinning, which is good. Same drill with the grease on the outer bearing. Pack it into that crevice on the back. Put our rotor in place. Notice I'm just trying not to touch the rotor a lot with my greasy fingers. Okay. We've got our bearing in place. Clean the ugly grease off of our washer. Put the washer on. Our bolt on. Okay, so we're putting it on there. We're going to take our ratchet and we're going to pull it a little bit tight. Okay, now we're going to spin the rotor around a little bit. Okay, now we're going to loosen this up. And then we're going to pull it tight again. Just barely, probably like 2 or 3 foot-pounds, not a lot. Just put our nut back on. Okay, we're going to pull it kind of tight. We're going to just rotate the rotor a little bit. That seats the bearings. Okay, we're going to loosen this, and then we're going to bring it so it's just starting to seat. And you pull it just a little bit, probably 2 or 3 foot-pounds. Okay. And then I'm going to put this up through. And then grab the end. Bend it over. And it's not going to come out. I'm going to put our dust cap back on. And make sure there's no harmful dust in it. Use mineral spirits or brake parts cleaner. Make sure you don't have any grease on the rotor surface. Okay, also do the inside. Okay, now we're going to take our calipers and we're going to push these sleeves out. Wire brush them, make sure there's no deep grooves or any grooves in them really. All we need to do is push this piston back in. So you can see I've got a big C-clamp on there. Using my old brake pad to push on the piston. And as I tighten the C-clamp, the piston goes back into the caliper. And this should do this. This should require a little bit of pressure, but it should do it pretty easily. And that's the way you know the caliper is still in good shape. Okay, so here's my inner pad. Comes with a little clip. Install that into the hole, and then pull it down and on like that. Make sure you don't get any grease or anything on the pad. Install the new pad into the caliper. Okay, so we've got some pretty good scale on these, so I'm just using a screwdriver, scraping it off first, and then I'll go back with the wire brush. Okay. Your outer pad. Okay. There's a wear tab on this inner pad. Okay, you want to make sure that wear tab goes to the bottom. And put the caliper right down on, kind of grab hold of the pads. Okay, so we've got our caliper bolts all cleaned up. Use some medium grit sandpaper if you need to. Just want to make sure you get all the stuff off them. I'm going to put a nice fine coating of anti-seize on here. You could also use some grease or something. Okay, and we're also going to put it on these collars here. Should go in. Okay, I'm just going to fast forward here as I put those bolts in with my 3/8 Allen wrench, and then I use my other large combination wrench for some extra torque when I'm tightening them. These bolts should be tightened between 45 and 50 foot-pounds. I use the wrench, put it on the Allen wrench for some leverage, and pull it pretty tight, and then straighten the wheels out so I can put the tires on. Keeping the speed going, install the wheel and tire back on, put the lug nuts on by hand first, and then I'll use my impact wrench just to tighten them up preliminarily. Now I'll torque these to 100 foot-pounds using the star pattern. And speed up as I finish torquing, and when I say use a star pattern, I just trace the bolts in a pattern like a star, basically like you would draw a star, and then put the center cap on and install the plastic lug covers and use your socket just to tighten the lug covers up until they click. Very important, pump your brakes and then do a trial stop from 5 miles an hour before you road test your vehicle. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.